Hello and welcome back to the Pure Nintendo podcast. My name is Jemma, and with me this week I have two of Pure Nintendo's greatest. I have our head honcho, I have Justin. Welcome back, Justin.
Hey, good to be back.
And I was going to say our long-suffering review coordinator, because it's such a good job that you do, though. Thank you, Trev. Welcome back, Trev.
Yeah. Well, maybe we're like a Hydra. Maybe I'm a smaller head, right? Like
Yes.
Justin's that big head, and I'm that little
Yeah.
head on the side.
That little one that always pops back up. You cut one off and
The one
more.
that gets cut off right away. Like,
Yes. Well, thank you for joining me this week. We have a lot to talk about. It's a very exciting show, actually, because Nintendo dropped a direct on us during the week, and we love our Nintendo Directs, and we certainly love talking about them and digesting what was covered. And this was a decent one. Like, this was a long session, like a good 40 plus minutes. Do you want to give, maybe Justin, do you want to start off with like your first overall impressions? Like, were you pleased with this Direct? What did you think?
Yeah, I was really pleased with it. I kind of like being surprised with a direct announcement. It's
Mm,
kind of fun to be like, oh, there's going to be a direct. I think it's good that last year Nintendo sat out in June, right? They're like, oh, let's do something in July. I think they even did like a partner showcase or something. So I don't think a whole lot of people were anticipating a June one, but
mm,
um, yeah, I was excited and yeah, overall it was I think awesome. There were a lot of question marks with the Switch lineup for the second half of this year, and I think they really nailed it on quite a bit of content still having a big two big heavy hitters like a Super Mario RPG remake that came out of nowhere, and then the new 2D Mario game. Like that's awesome. So
yeah.
I think that's going to really fuel Switch sales into next year. So
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, we'll kind of go through our highlights and we'll do it sort of in the order of the direct. And they started off pretty strongly with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC. And I can't remember, Trev, whether you ended up with Scarlet or Violet or not. Did you end up with that game?
I did not. I was playing
Mm,
Arceus or Arceus, depending on, I've heard it both ways.
yeah. Yeah.
And that was my Pokemon game, so I actually haven't played this one.
Mm. Yeah, well, I know
Yeah.
Justin and I were quite into it, and both loved
Well,
it.
I read our 5 out of 10 review, and I'm like, huh, do I really want to play this? No, I just play it. I know it's just one person's opinion.
Yeah, yeah. No, I sunk a lot of time into this one, as I'm sure Justin did too. What do you think of the DLC? I won't ask Trev then since you haven't played it. So again, to Justin, it sounded like a pretty decent lineup of two packages, right? Like a fall and a winter package.
yeah,
What was the first one was what was it? Area Zero. I can't remember the name of it now. Do you recall the name of it?
yeah. One of them is the teal mask. I think is part one,
Mm,
and the
yes.
indigo disc is the second one.
Yeah.
Um, and it looks like
Mask
it's going to
Party.
have like whole new areas to
Mm,
explore, which is really cool. Um, so I'm really excited about it. I like when DLC content has some pretty beefy new areas to explore. Not just like cosmetic or even feature updates, but like, hey, give us some big places to explore. And it looks like these are going to be pretty substantial. And judging by the past Pokemon DLCs that they did, um, like for Sword and Shield, those were really cool. So I'm anticipating kind of a similar grouping, and I think they're doing something similar where there's 100 Pokemon from the past several generations that'll be
oh,
included in part one, and then another 100 that'll be included in part two. So there's going to be quite a bit to add to your Pokedex, even in these the Scarlet and Violet games.
that's brilliant. I missed that part. That's awesome. That's a lot to collect, for collective files like me. Yeah, that's brilliant.
That
Yeah, I
one
think
DLC area looked a little sterile, huh, to me.
the second
Mm-hmm.
one, or
Like out in the water, it just looked a little, I don't know if that was purposeful or. I just remember seeing it and being like, wow, kind of out in the middle of nowhere. Not a
Mm,
lot of color. I don't know.
It does
yeah.
seem like some of the new areas they're adding are kind of isolated, right? They're like, oh, because they already have like kind of the big island that's the main continent. And then they're like, okay, well, where do we add stuff? And then they're like, okay, let's throw one out in the water somewhere, which is kind of what they did with the Sword and Shield ones too. They had like two islands that you um, could explore basically.
Mm,
Um,
yeah. Yes, that's a lot to look forward to. I don't think they gave us a price on that, did they? Or even a
uh,
release date. It was just like fall and winter kind of thing.
they do have some pricing on the eShop. I think to get both of them, it's $35.
Okay. Hmm.
Uh, or I take that. I think basically, depending on the version you have, you get a season pass per version, and so
Hmm.
yeah, like obviously if you had both games and you wanted both passes, then maybe it's $70 or something. But I don't think a lot of people are going to be doing that. They'll probably get the DLC on one version or the other. But
Yeah, true. Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, like you said, the second half of the year was looking pretty bare to start with. We only had Pikmin to look forward to. So that's obviously going to give us a bit more meat for existing titles at least. But sticking with Pokemon, and I don't recall the release date for this one, sorry, but Detective Pikachu Returns was another title that came up in the Direct. And this was, I mean, this was a surprise. And I think we loved Pikachu and Detective Pikachu. Seeing him return is pretty cool. Trev, have you? I feel like you were a fan of Detective Pikachu. Am I correct in that assumption?
Well, I do have to take just a minor issue. Gemma,
Mm.
when you said it was surprised, because I actually had this on my prediction list for
Mm.
2023.
Right.
Um,
So
I
not a
think
surprise for
Justin
you.
might have predicted a trailer, so
Hmm.
I only probably have a half point lead, but it did make both our list, I think, in one form or another.
yeah,
So, yeah, it was cool to see. I feel like it's one of those that kind of has quietly maybe like we haven't heard a lot about it. Like
Hmm.
it didn't disappear, but it's just sort of been forgotten in the midst of other announcements. So it was good to see
Mm.
that not only does it exist, but yeah, it's going to be out before we,
Hmm.
end of the year.
Yeah, brilliant. And it was a bit of a teaser. I don't think it was a huge trailer, was it? It was a bit of a short teaser for this one, I think. And they said more details will come later.
yeah, and it's coming out
Mm.
October 6th. So yeah, they've got
Oh, cool.
some time. I anticipate there's probably going to be a September direct if Nintendo's
Hmm.
following some
Yeah.
things there. And like they said, even with Super Mario, the Mario game, they're going to have more to come too. So I imagine there's
Mm.
be some
Yeah.
more opportunities for trailers.
Yeah, it's looking, yeah, like as we go through this list, it's gonna be another packed 6 months, and it'll be another case of, oh, too many games to play. So
Not enough
um
money.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. And the next one, which Justin already kind of touched on, was Mario RPG, and this was a complete surprise and a lovely surprise. I have to admit, as a long-time Nintendo fan, and I'm talking since I've been like 5 years old. Um, I never played the original Super Mario RPG. I didn't
Mhm.
play it on the Super Nintendo, which is a shame. And I'm trying to remember. I don't know if it came out in Australia. I'm definitely aware of it, and I think it does. It has been out in other formats that I could have played it, and I just somehow just missed it over all these years. I always wanted to try it, and I just never got around to it. So for me, this is perfect because, like I said, I've always wanted to, and now I'll have a very, very good chance to do so on the Switch. Plus, it has been updated visually. Trev, you and I were talking just offline before the show about the visuals, and what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting with this game because the night before the direct, this was actually it showed up in my like trending thing, and I
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
click it. And now
Hmm.
I'm wondering, did this actually get leaked
Yeah.
prior?
Hmm.
Thankfully,
Maybe.
I didn't know about it if it did.
Mhm.
But yeah, this game's kind of special for me because this was really like the SNES. It was Mario RPG and Chrono Trigger that kind of sold me on the genre.
Mhm.
And yeah, like obviously, objectively speaking, these updated visuals are better. I'm so used to that kind of Donkey Kong Country-esque look that I think it'll take my brain a little while to
Mhm.
get used to it. But yeah, this is really exciting news, especially for someone like you, Gemma. If you miss this one, I think you're really
Mm.
gonna. And not knocking Paper Mario or the Mario and Luigi games because I like those too, but
Mhm.
for me, this is still it for Mario
Yeah.
RPG.
Yeah, and I'm super excited about that. And I played, if maybe not all, but most of the others. Like I've definitely played the Paper Mario's and the Mario and Luigi games, and loved them. And like I said, this wasn't one I missed because I wasn't interested. I don't know what happened. I can't explain it. But one I've always wanted to go back and try. So I'm super excited about this one, and it looks lovely. It just looks so great and so much fun. If it's anything like Paper Mario, which the combat looks very similar, or or sorry, or like Mario and Luigi, that's similar kind of strategic turn-based combat and puzzle elements. I think it's going to be a really good one. Did they say was anything added to this? Like, was anything changed, or was it just a straight kind of remake in terms of visuals? There's no extra kind of two-player mode or anything like that. It's all just straight up kind of port that's visually enhanced. Do we know?
Yeah, I mean, it's they didn't say anything about new content, but yeah, it's definitely they're trying to make it fairly close to the original.
Mm. Which is
Because
good. You don't want to
like
tinker with it too much.
yeah, I think yeah, I feel like Super Mario RPG is a little even like Chrono Trigger in the sense that they just have to be really careful remaking a game that's so beloved, you know.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, and I think that's why they kind of haven't touched Chrono Trigger. Like Chrono Trigger is like, like you could go a lot of different ways with remastering Chrono Trigger. Like some people are like, oh, give me the pixel HD stuff, like the some of the newer Square Enix games, right? That they've been doing,
Mm.
like Bravely Default and Second. Some of those. Actually, I think that has a different style. The Octopath Traveler is what I'm thinking of. So
Mhm.
some people are like,
Yeah, true.
do
Yeah.
the Octopath Traveler engine right with Chrono Trigger, and part of me is like, I could see that. You get kind of that still the pixel nostalgia, but man, seeing the graphics for Mario RPG here, this remake, they've done a pretty. I like how it still has that same isometric view.
Mhm.
It looks like it's going to be similar sizes to the battle arenas, but everything is just like that phrase. Has just had like a glow up, right? Like it just
Mhm.
looks so much better. So yeah, we'll see. At least right now, they haven't said any new features. I think they said something to the effect of more to come. Stay tuned for more. So um,
Mm. Yeah.
definitely the box art that they showed off hopefully is a placeholder. It's really it's like a white background and just the character renders and the logo. So it's like hopefully there's some some more things. But otherwise, yeah, it looks. I'm very excited about it. To
Mhm.
echo what Trev was saying, um, we actually rented this game several times. Like we had heard about it, my brothers and I, and we had played it, and then kind of your rental periods up, and you're like, oh, and then we rented a couple more times and finally beat the game. But it had some pretty epic boss battles. There's some pretty interesting things. I love the minecart segments in that. Trev, do you remember those? There's some really interesting,
Yes,
even
Mode
like
7.
most graphics, yeah. Even seeing like Mario spinning through like the river segments, and I saw that they showed that in this remake.
Yeah.
Like it just like it just takes me back. So
Yeah.
anyways, so
I just want to confirm it didn't come out in Europe or Australia, which is the main reason why I didn't play it back in the 90s.
oh
So it was Japan and North America only on the Super
really?
Nintendo. So even though I read about it in magazines and I was very
Mhm.
aware of it, and I saw all the great reviews it was getting, and I was very excited because I'm a huge Mario fan anyway, didn't get the chance to play it at the time, and didn't get around
Wow.
to importing it or whatever. So that's the main reason. So yeah, very exciting. Very exciting for anyone who missed out.
I
Yeah.
just looked up. I reviewed it on Wii U Virtual Console. I only gave it a 9 out of 10. I think I shortchanged it. I don't know what I was thinking back in 2016, but
It'd be interesting if you review the new one and what you might give it as well.
I
Yeah.
think maybe because on the Wii U, a lot of the virtual console games look darker or something. Maybe that was
Mm,
bugging
Yeah.
me. I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah, could be. Yes, that one's
Mm.
out in November, so another second half of the year one to look forward to. Still seems like a long way away, November, but it'll come around very quickly, I'm sure.
Maybe I'll be
Uh,
done Zelda by then.
yeah, yes. And I'm glad we have the direct to talk about because I haven't had a big week in Hyrule, so I don't have a lot. I still haven't made it to my first dungeon, just as a little side note.
Oh my goodness, Gemma.
Well, just very quickly, I do want to say you guys were so right when you said, I think Justin especially said this, getting to the dungeons is like a chore. And I'm like, trying to make it to a dungeon and just come on, I want to just get there. And it's like you have to go and do this and this. And I'm doing the Rito Village one. You got to find the little bird guy, Tulin, is that his name?
Yeah.
And it's like he was right there, and then he flew away, and so I've got to go back to the camp that I've already been to, and then he's not there. And then you go look for him in the cave, and he's not there. And then you go further into the cave, and he's not there. It's like, where is this guy? Come on! It's
Yeah.
just yeah, it's fun, but
That's
also
right. Tulin
yeah,
is a guy. I always think of Tulin as a girl. I think because the voice is so young sounding. I don't know.
yeah.
But
I
you're
think
right.
he's
It's a
just a
guy.
kid. Yeah. Anyway, that's my Hyrule update. But let's move on to the next one. And I was quite, I don't know if this had already been a news or not, but I was surprised and kind of happy to hear that Batman Arkham trilogy, which we're now going to call Barkham because I just made that up, the Batman Arkham trilogy is heading to the Switch in fall 2023. And Justin, I know you're a big Batman fan. I don't know if
Oh,
you're an Arkham fan or not.
yeah. Yes.
Thoughts?
Yeah, I'm a huge Batman and DC fan, and yeah, I definitely love the Arkham series. I was a little bummed that they don't have Arkham Origins,
Origins is missing,
um,
yeah. Yep.
which again, like some people say, oh, but that's not part of the trilogy, and yeah, it is an offshoot, and it was done by a different studio.
Mm,
But I don't know, like I really enjoyed Arkham Origins. It had some really interesting detective mode features in that. So they kind of expanded upon that. The Arkham series did have some of that too, where you'd investigate crime scenes and do different things. Because Batman's supposed to be the world's greatest detective.
mhm,
They don't always show it in the movies, but he is supposed to be, investigative, and like in the Batman animated series, he's always going up against Riddler and solving these really crazy
mm,
uh, puzzles and things. So like that's always what I always wanted in the video games, right? Is hey, I want to be solving some of these puzzles that the world's greatest detective would do. Um, so yeah, I'm a little bummed that Origins isn't in there. Maybe they felt like that was too much, like you have already these three great games in the trilogy, and then also put Origins in there. I do
mm.
hope Origins, could eventually come to the Switch and have a port there, because I don't think Origins ever came onto a Nintendo
I
system.
don't
I
think
could be
so. No, because it
uh,
Wait,
was
did they have that on the Wii U? What was the Wii U one?
so they
uh,
had
Arkham
Arkham
City.
City.
Mm,
Yeah, that was the second one, right? They
Oh,
might have actually come out with Arkham Origins on the Wii U, actually.
maybe because Arkham Knight, whatever it is, the third one didn't come out on the Wii
Yeah,
U. So
they did
maybe
have
because there were
Arkham
two.
Origins. Yeah, they did have Arkham
Mm,
Origins on the Wii U. Yep.
yeah.
didn't you
Yeah, I think there
review
were
it,
two.
Justin? Actually, now that you're talking, I feel like
Yeah, it is possible.
way
Mm.
Uh,
back when,
yeah,
10 years ago.
Yeah, it
yeah.
was a while ago. Yeah, I remember playing Arkham City on the Wii U. I'm not usually privy to these kinds of games because they, like you said, they don't tend to feature on Nintendo consoles often, which is why I
Right.
was excited to see the trilogy come out at least because I haven't played the original Arkham and I haven't played Arkham Knight either. So I've only played the City one. I don't think I played Origins on the Wii U. I
Right.
think I only played Arkham City. And I really enjoyed it. It's a lot darker for a game on a Nintendo system
Yeah,
generally.
it is.
Um, but I do love Batman. I'm a DC fan as well, so I was certainly interested in it and really enjoyed my time in Arkham City. So I am looking forward to seeing this. And I think you probably do have a point because when they announced it, I'm like, this is a good collection. 3 games is good, and yeah,
Hmm.
it's not complete though, which is interesting. And we'll talk about another collection coming up, and you can tell me your thoughts on that too. But last week, I think it was, we were talking about the Lara Croft collection, and I thought, and I
Hmm.
think I said this on air. It's like two games. Is that really a collection? It doesn't feel like a collection. It's like it's just two
Yeah.
games.
Yeah.
Three feels a bit more complete, but
Yes.
I don't know. It's a bit loose, the term collection, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like where Nintendo did Pikmin 1+2 or Advance Wars 1+2.
Mm,
You
hmm.
know,
Yeah.
they shied away from using collection, which I think is good. Like, yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
it's a collection. It's got to be three or more. I think.
I think so. I think so too. And I think you're right that the Arkham trilogy, they're pretty beefy games. Like they
Oh
take
yeah,
time. I spent a lot of time hunting the Riddler clues and
yeah,
doing all the little side quests in Arkham City. There's a lot to do in these games. So, three of them is going to take, if you actually play them all through properly, it's going to take quite a lot of time. So
yeah.
anyway,
And it includes all of the DLC for all three
yes.
of those.
Hmm.
So I guess
Hmm.
that can't be missed in all this too. Is yeah, it doesn't have Arkham Origins, but it does have all three of those games with all the DLC. And the Arkham Knight DLC, as I recall, was fairly substantial. There were some
Mm.
really fun boss battles there. I think you did Killer Croc. That was a really fun area. Uh, so yeah, I think
Cool.
if people that haven't played it, do be prepared for the main criticism for Arkham Knight. Arkham Knight is still a fantastic game in the trilogy,
Mm.
but they're a little heavy handed with the Bat mobile.
All right.
um,
Yeah.
and so like you'll be using it a lot, which it's cool. It can transform into this like tank mode and speed
Hmm.
around, and then like, but you'll find you're like, man, I'm using this thing a lot. So, anyways, but
Yeah, because that
that's
was the new thing, the new feature in that one, wasn't it? That you got to
yeah,
ride the Batmobile, but yeah,
yeah,
okay, it's a little maybe
yeah,
too much
yeah.
to get back.
It's a bit much. Like you end up driving
Mm.
on top of buildings and stuff with it, and you're like, okay, this I don't know about.
It's taking it too far. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Yeah, well, that's another one to look forward to in fall of 2023. So that's a few months away as well. No specific release date at this point. The other one that we've been talking about a lot anyway is Pikmin 4 because we've already known this is coming in July. So I think it's almost exactly a month away now, just shy of a day from a month away. So they showed us a new trailer for Pikmin 4, which was quite decent. And I think it showed us a new type of Pikmin, right? This was
Yeah,
it called?
best trailer. Yeah,
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
really good. Because, yeah, the last one we talked about to me, Trev, it was a bit disappointing because it didn't show any Pikmin or gameplay. It was just the character selection kind of thing.
yeah.
But this one was a lot longer, much more in depth. It showed a lot of the, I can't say the dog's name. It's a Japanese name.
Ochi.
Ochi, yeah, Ochi, who looks adorable. Adorable. I cannot wait to ride on Ochi through water and have him attack enemies and stuff. And also a new Pikmin, which is it called the glow Pikmin? The little
Yep.
green guys? Yeah. What do we think of this? Like we get to explore at night now. This is really interesting. Trev, do you have an opinion on this?
Yeah, that's pretty. It goes against the grain so much, right? Because
Mm,
night
hmm.
falls, and if you don't get back on your ship and get out of there, the stragglers get eaten. And now,
Yeah.
hey, we actually, it almost feels like when Tears of the Kingdom has like the depths, the underground. This is like
Mm, hmm.
Pikmin's underground. We're in the dark, and
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. And I think they even mentioned the word underground, didn't they? There's an underground section you can go to,
Yeah.
yeah,
right? Yeah.
Which is
I
kind of
thought,
similar to Pikmin 2. Pikmin 2 had some
mm,
of those
hmm.
like, you know, areas you would delve down into, and then had these little springs that would, eventually spring your crew back up to the surface. But but it never got dark. It was never fully night mode.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and I love, I guess I do, I'm always excited to see a new type of Pikmin. We already knew about the ice Pikmin. Now we have these glow Pikmin, which look like little cute little green ghosty type of things. They kind of don't have legs. They kind of float around. And
Mhm.
I assume they're the only ones you can use at night, right? And the other ones are probably still vulnerable to attack. And then you have to use your
I
glow
would
Pikmin
think so.
yeah,
Yeah,
to protect those little mounds, whatever those base things are that you have to protect. I wasn't really sure what they were
yeah,
doing there. We don't have long to wait to find out though, which is cool. Still only, yeah, like I said, a month away. But yeah, there's a lot. It seems like a lot. And the thing that I thought about, because they, the other thing they did was show off Pikmin 1 and 2 is now available. So that's out as of now. And I have said in a previous podcast, I never played Pikmin 1 and 2. I only came on board with Pikmin 3. So it's, again, cool for me. As we're watching the direct, I was watching it with my kids, and I've also mentioned my youngest. He's a huge Pikmin fan as well. It's probably his favorite Nintendo game. And he was looking at the trailer for 1 and 2, and he's like, oh, it looks kind of old. I'm like, well, it is. Like, these are how old? 20 odd years old.
Yeah,
Um, the,
the first
you know,
Pikmin was like a launch window game for the Cube.
yeah. So we've come a long way since then. And I was thinking, each time we have a new Pikmin game, things are added. There's different, especially with Pikmin 4, it looks like this is probably the biggest change. Going back to Pikmin 1 and 2, is that hard, do you think, after you played 3? Like, you guys have played it, the original, before. Do you think it would be harder to go back and play them now, if you hadn't played the original 2?
Um, I don't think so. If anything, I think it might seem. I mean, with less to work with, I feel like it's hard to say. As I'm rambling, I realize I don't have a good answer.
It's okay. That's perfectly
Yeah,
fine.
I can't separate having played it, I suppose, and
Yeah.
really having
Yeah.
played it twice because it came out in the GameCube and then it was re-released with
Mm,
motion controls on the Wii. So
that's
Yeah.
true. Hmm.
yeah, I'm not in a position, I guess, to judge how like someone like Hayden who have never played it
Yeah.
go into it.
Well,
But I think the core gameplay is still there. If they liked Pikmin 3, I think
Mhm.
Pikmin 1 might feel a little more quaint, but I think it's
mhm.
still enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, sorry, do you go, Justin?
Yeah, I would agree that like I do think Pikmin 3 is probably the best iteration of Pikmin so far, right? Like,
Hmm.
visually, like the visuals do help like you feel more immersed in that kind of small garden area, right? But
Hmm.
um, yeah, Pikmin 1 and 2 are still really fun and they have their own unique things, right? There was stuff in Pikmin 2 that wasn't fully explored in Pikmin 3 even. So yeah, I think there's still plenty to enjoy there. I think it is cheaper if you get the 2 pack. I was noticing. I think it's
Hmm.
like $50 for the two. They're $30 separately each. Um,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, I think they're worthwhile.
Yeah. I'm definitely interested in getting them simply because I haven't played them and I am a fan. Um, I was thinking, well, actually, the one thing that Hayden did, my son, he did like in the trailer when it came to Pikmin 2, it did show, and I already had known this, but the purple Pikmin and the white Pikmin are part of your crew in Pikmin 2 because they're introduced in that game, right?
Yeah,
But
Yep.
in Pikmin 3, they're not in your crew, not in the main game. I think you can use them in one of the multiplayer modes or something, but they're not actually in your kind of quest, like your story mode version of Pikmin 3.
yeah,
So seeing that, Hayden was excited because he hasn't really had a chance to use the purple or the white properly in the game itself. So that was a selling point for him, which was pretty cool, I thought. So yeah, I think it'd be fun. And if we get it because it's out now, it's a good timing in that it's a good month that we can enjoy this game before Pikmin 4 takes over. So yeah.
Huh.
I was thinking it's interesting how we've been talking about Nintendo shadow dropping stuff recently, and this was, I guess, you could say a shadow drop, but even though it's a port of an older game, but it was like available now. Here you go. Here's Pikmin 1 and 2. So, um,
Surprise.
yeah, nice surprise. As a side note or a question for you two, because we've been talking about or thinking about, I suppose, we've got Nintendo Switch Online, we've got Nintendo 64 games, Super Nintendo games, etc., Game Boy now. Everyone wants GameCube games. Do you think the release of games like this as packaged games means it's less likely that we would get a GameCube section in the online collection?
Um, I would say yes. I
Mm,
just, especially at this stage in the Switch's life,
hmm.
um, yeah, I think re-releases like this are probably a good way to ensure that these final years before they move on to Switch 2 or whatever they're going to call it has a steady flow of quality releases without taking away their main resources from whatever the new hardware is going to be.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do think. Yeah, I agree that it's going to lessen the chances of a GameCube Switch Online thing. I think there's probably more potential for that, like you said, Trev, for the Switch too. There's still plenty of content that they've put out. I mean, having Game Boy Advance, there's still plenty of games that they can still add to Game Boy Advance libraries. Um,
Mhm.
so there's still quite a bit they've done. I do hope that they continue to build on that. I don't like how Nintendo keeps kind of resetting their digital
Mm.
virtual console, so to speak. Because like on the
Yeah.
Wii, it was virtual console. On the Wii U, they called it something else, and then on the Switch, it's kind of reset again. I hope that with the Switch, it established, hey, we have a full Nintendo account system. Let's just keep growing this, right? Keep growing the
I hope
Switch
so.
on service, and it's going to be interesting what they name it. You know, because
Mm.
if they are trying to continue this, as maybe they need to rename it to just Switch Virtual Con. You know, I always thought Virtual Console was a cool, you know, title for
Yeah,
their
me too.
retro
Yeah.
service. You know, maybe they call it retro online, or I don't know, something. But they need to have something where it can be branded on its own, and then on any Nintendo device you can get, hey, you got to get the Switch 2 to get GameCube access, but you can get up through 64 catalog on the first Switch, or
Mm. Yeah. And they like you're saying, yeah, they do they do reset it, which is a bit annoying. We end up getting the same games multitude of times.
yeah.
And I would like to see them keep what we already have on the next system, but
Mhm.
as well as expand it to something like, yeah, I can see GameCube being available on the next system as being a draw card. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I will say the one argument against more GameCube re-releases, and I don't mean to hijack as a segue, but
Mm.
the Metal Gear Collection has the
Mhm.
PlayStation version, not the Twin Snakes version from GameCube. So
Yeah, which is interesting.
Ah, interesting. Well, that is the next. That's a great segue because that's the next game on our list,
I couldn't
and
resist.
and it is the collection I was alluding to earlier. So this is another collection, and I think this is they called it like Collection Volume One or something, right?
Yeah, I was noticing Volume 1. I was like, interesting.
So it implies there's more to come, but it does have a lot of games in it.
Yeah.
I can't recall the exact. I'm not really a Metal Gear person, so I'm not the best to speak about this one. But who among you is?
Yeah. Well, I've played several of the games. I've played the first two I played with Twin Snakes. So Twin Snakes was my intro to the series. And yeah, Twin Snakes is the first and second game, I guess, kind of included and remastered. Um, and they were really fun. I really enjoyed them. It's got some interesting tactical gameplay. Hiding in the box is really interesting. It's like really, the guys don't see this box moving from one location to another. Okay, that's fine. Uh, but so it has like these kind of little tropes in the series that you get used to. But I think I played Metal Gear Solid 3 on the 3DS. Do you remember that, Trev? I think they had that as fairly close
Yeah,
to
I do
which
remember that.
which was an interesting collaboration because again, Metal Gear typically was not on Nintendo platforms other than Twin Snakes. And then when Metal Gear Solid 3 and it was like, oh, it's 3D, and that was really interesting. Metal Gear Solid 3 was really different for me. It didn't resonate with me quite as much as 1 and 2, Twin Snakes, but um, it did get me to explore the franchise a little bit more. I don't know if you guys have ever played the Game Boy Color Metal Gear Solid game.
No.
Um,
I have
and
not.
that was really fun. It was a late Game Boy Color game. So like I think the Game Boy Advance had even come out already. I didn't see it as a part of this collection, but I do wonder if that's coming, right? Maybe in Volume 2. I could see them
Mm.
doing Metal Gear Solid 4, Metal Gear Solid 5, maybe the Game Boy Color game, and I don't know, maybe some other ones in there. Um,
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot to choose from, and maybe this is like you were saying earlier about a collection or we're all kind of all talking about collections and what makes up a collection, and maybe that's too much content to put all of them in one collection in this case because that's a lot of games.
Yeah.
It's also a good chance for them to make more money, I suppose, if they do it in two lots, if
Yeah,
it does well.
it's kind of why they do movies in two parts now. They're like, oh, do we want to have less money or more money?
And the answer is more money. Okay.
More money, 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 money.
Yeah, exactly. So sorry, I didn't write down the release date for this one. Was that a 2023 thing?
October 24. Yep.
Okay, another October. So yeah, October is looking busy. November is looking busy. Yeah, there's a lot to do. Trev, are
These
you a
are.
Metal? Sorry,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to
No.
say, are you a Metal Gear fan, and will you be picking this up? Do you think?
Um, it's interesting. Metal Gear, at least the ones in this, it's one of the few M-rated series that I've ever gotten into. Um,
Hmm.
Back in the day, I remember like this came out the same year as Ocarina of Time, and they were like very different games, and obviously Zelda's way longer. But I remember at the time thinking, "Wow, I don't know what my favorite game is this year,"
Wow.
because these are
Yeah.
both great. And then, yeah, I grabbed Metal Gear Solid 2 on launch day. I grabbed Twin Snakes, which of course updated the first game while having mechanics from the second game. And I think around the third one, which I did play and beat, but I borrowed it from a friend. I didn't buy it. And it's probably around there that I stopped following. But I find it interesting that they're putting in like the NES game and Snake's Revenge. So I think
Mm,
that'll be cool for, an older guy like me, even though I still have Metal Gear on cartridge. And I mean,
cool.
honestly, Snake's Revenge wasn't that good from what I remember. So, but these are three big games. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not Zelda big, but they're also not games you're gonna, beat in a weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of
So,
content, which is cool. Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. Did they give it? They didn't give a price, huh?
I don't
Um,
know. Maybe online.
My fear is, I think I caught wind that it's going to be one of those situations where, like, there's maybe one game on the cart, and then the rest are like you got to download. So that bugs me with
Okay.
the physical release.
yeah. They said price for it is 19.99, $20.
Okay, that's a
Okay.
ridiculously good price. I mean, I
Yeah.
can't argue in terms of content, but yeah, I
Yeah.
just wonder how they're going to work because these are big games. It's going to be a big uh, like addition if you get it physically. I think it's going to be like an NBA 2K type thing where you get a fraction on the cart and then you have to download the rest for hours.
Yeah.
Mm,
I
yeah.
hope
Okay.
I'm wrong.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah. It seems to go against what the point of having a physical version is really. You know.
But that's the norm now. And at
Mm,
this late stage in the Switch's life, I don't think if the third parties aren't shelling out for the bigger cards by this point, are they ever going to do it?
yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, see, I just looked it up. Requires physical downloads.
Yeah.
This
Okay.
article says 24.1 gigabytes plus 30 gigabytes for bonus videos with only 2 point
21.
front loaded. That's a lot.
It's
Yeah.
huge. Wow.
Yeah, it does look like they're adding a lot of like digital content. Like, um, there's gonna be a lot of stuff to.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot. I did do the PlayStation Portable, like the graphic novel. I forgot I did do that one. I think that's on here. So
Yeah.
Wow.
that is a lot. I can't argue for the price. It's just more of the,
Yeah.
my SD card is so full already.
Yeah. And that's a big chunk. Like you have to archive a lot to get 21 gig on there. So yeah,
Oh, yeah.
have fun with that. Um,
Thank
next
you.
little, this is I suppose a smaller one, but it caught my attention. It's called Vampire Survivor, and this one comes out in August. And this one caught my attention because I have heard of it before. I don't know which system it's on. I can't quite remember, but I think it's mobile and maybe like other consoles. But I was talking to our friends over at Gamerheads last year on their podcast, and it was deemed unworthy, or the Switch was deemed unworthy to be able to handle the action of Vampire Survivor. And I tried to defend Nintendo and the Switch, and I said, I think it'll make it. I think it'll eventually come to the Switch because it's super popular. and here it is. So I guess I was right. So that's
Humor
coming out.
is do not doubt Gemma.
Yeah.
Just don't
Uh,
don't doubt Gemma.
So it looks like a I haven't played it, full disclosure. I haven't played it, but I've been following it and watching it and I'm interested in it. And it looks like it's a shooter where you're a little dude shooting hordes of things around you basically, and you level up and you get different you know, weapons, and the hordes get bigger and bigger the longer you survive. So it's about surviving these onslaughts of attacks from all directions. So it looks pretty fun, and I'm interested to see how that transitions to the Switch. So yeah, we'll see what that brings in August. The next one is a big one though. Well, kind of. I mean, it's Mario Kart Wave 5, which we've known is probably going to come out in summer, and we were right. So here it comes. And we don't have a release date yet. I think they just said summer. So that's anytime from now until the next 3 months, right? Basically, summer's just kicked off, I think, over in Northern Hemisphere.
Yeah, was it like yesterday or something, or day
Yeah,
before for you maybe?
yeah. The official start of summer was
Yeah, like the equinox. So yeah, so that's cool. And it looks like there's at least one new track, or maybe there's only one new track because they mentioned this, and I think it was something like, what was it? It's like, no, I'm terrible with remembering names. I should have written it down. It's like a washing theme, like a bathroom or something. I don't know. It looked like a scrubbing
it's
sink city or something like that. I can't remember.
it's
I
something
should
like
not.
squeaky clean.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's probably it.
squeaky
Yeah,
Yeah.
clean.
squeaky.
Yes, thank you, thank you. I have a terrible memory for these things, and new characters, which I'm super excited about. I love getting new characters,
Yeah.
and I think they have been available on other versions of Mario Kart. Like we've got Petey Piranha, who's
Mhm.
cool, and
Yeah, from
Wiggler.
Double Dash.
Yeah, from Double Dash, and we've got Wiggler, which I want to put Wiggler on the Wigglermobile. I think that'll be a nice little thing to do.
I
That'll look
think you'll
interesting.
break the game if you do that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll open the multiverse, Trev, if that happens. That's the
Yeah.
secret. And probably the one I'm most excited about is Kamek because I love Kamek
is that
and Magic
Magic
Cooper. Yeah, Magic Cooper. And remember, Kamek is a specific Magic Cooper. So Magic Cooper is like a species, and there's Kamek, so he's one of them. And he has been playable on Mario Kart Tour, like the mobile version. I haven't. I don't think I've unlocked him in my collection. But so I'll be very happy to play as Kamek. I do like little Kamek. So there's not a whole lot more than that. I think that we were given in the trailer, right? It was just new characters, new course, and it's coming in summer. And of course, we'll all be playing it. So, did you guys have any kind of thoughts on that, or we just
Just that I'm excited for it, and I'm
yeah.
looking forward to. It seems like every new wave, we always end up, having like a pure Nintendo game night.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Even though I never win, it's still I have a lot of fun. So I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to it.
It is a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm definitely excited to play with you guys. And I'll be sad, I think, when it wraps up after Wave 6. I'll be like, "Oh, it's the end." But maybe it'll be the beginning of something new, a new Mario Kart or something with
Yeah.
whatever system happens next because
That's probably what they'll call it, New Mario Kart.
Yeah.
yes, they will. Of course, that's their
And
reputation.
if history serves us, and I know they just said summer, but Wave 2 last year came out August 4. So
Hmm. Okay. Yeah. So that's still a bit of a ways off, but yeah, that sounds like a relatively good guess, I would say. Otherwise, they would have
It's
said if it
not
was
but
coming.
what that? That's about 6 weeks. That's actually
yeah.
Yeah, it's not too
closer
far.
than we might think.
Yep. And then
And
Wave
then,
3 last year came out December 7, so just before the
mm,
holiday. So I think we'll
yeah,
probably see something similar because they have to release. They said by the end of 2023 you'd have
hmm,
all 6 out. So um,
yeah,
yeah,
it's a good
that'll be
point.
August and December.
I think if it was coming out in July, they probably would have said, July or a date because that's pretty
Yeah.
soon.
Next
So I
month.
feel like, yeah, yeah. So August sounds likely to me. And Nintendo, I think they do seem to stick to tradition a little bit. So yeah. Anyway, very exciting. I love Mario Kart, and I look forward to reviewing the latest DLC because I've done the last four. The next one that caught my eye was Star Ocean, which, to be honest, I have never heard of, but it looked pretty cool, and it's an action RPG. And I wondered if either of you had were familiar with this series. I think the original was a Super Nintendo game, if I'm not mistaken. Is that something we know about? Do you?
I don't think so.
No,
Let's see.
I'm thinking of something else, maybe. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
Okay.
remember it on the PlayStation, the
yeah,
original.
Okay.
yeah. Because they
Yeah.
mentioned that this is the first time Nintendo players will be able to experience
Ah,
this.
yeah. Okay.
So I
Yeah.
think this, and it says it's a full remake of the 1998 RPG.
Okay.
So that would have
Cool.
been 64 era, right?
Yeah.
64
Yeah.
came
Yeah,
out.
it was a PS. I played. It's a series, but I played one on PS1. Obviously going back, let's say like 25 years almost. But
Yeah.
Mm.
um, I mean, I like sci-fi RPGs. I remember. Granted, it was a kid, a teenager. But I remember thinking some of the characters and dialogue were a little uh like preteenish, like like romance type things. Like I'm like, but my memories, it's such an old memory. I'm sure the game will be better, on Switch with updates and modern sensibilities than how I
Yeah.
remember it. It was a good looking game.
Hmm.
Um, I wonder how they're going to work in some of those like uh, you know like that style from the PS1 with like some of those static screens. But
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. And I mean, I'm surprised it's not a collection, to be honest. If it's a
Yeah.
series that, and we're getting so many collections at the moment, but oh well. It is cool if it's the first time on a Nintendo system, though. Had you played it,
maybe if
Justin?
it sells good, they'll follow up.
Yeah.
True. Are you familiar with it, Justin, at all? Have you played it?
No, I've heard about it, but I haven't played it myself. Yeah, it was on PlayStation.
Mm.
Um,
Cool.
so yeah, I didn't have a PlayStation till the PS4.
Okay. No, it
Oh
definitely caught
wow.
my eye. And that's another November release. So, yeah, again, something busy, another busy period. Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on that, I think, as more information comes to hand. The next title that I have on my list is now I've written this down the wrong way. It's WarioWare Move It, I think, is actually the title of
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just always surprised every time Wario pops back up into our lives. Just like, oh, look, Wario's back. And I do like, I mean, I like Wario. I like WarioWare. They're pretty fun, and the trailer looked fun, like a lot of games. And I think there was something about having multiple people doing stuff together or something.
Mhm.
Do you guys recall what that entailed?
Yeah, I
I,
don't
I
recall.
don't. The only thing I remember jumping out to me is it looked like it had like some kind of board game structure,
Yes, that's right. There was some kind of.
which I don't remember from past
Mm,
Wario games. So I'm like, ooh, like a kind of like a Mario Party, but with micro
it
games.
did look like
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
Wario
yeah,
Party.
yeah.
Yeah,
It was only a
Wario.
matter of time.
Wario.
Yeah, I don't think I played the last Wario game.
I feel
Yeah.
like the
Um,
one that came out on Switch didn't sell very good.
No.
that's what I
Yeah,
was
and
thinking.
I remember thinking that, like coming off of WarioWare that had more motion incorporated into it, I remember I was like, man, that it seemed fairly static. I don't know, and this seems like hopefully it could be a return to form because I think some of the motion stuff. I think WarioWare got big on the Wii, right? Like the Wii version
Mm-hmm.
was very popular with the Wiimote, and it added to the zaniness of what the player was required to do in each mini game, right? So.
Yeah,
And I mean,
exactly.
the Switch has a handheld mode. You could do like, like the DS game, like WarioWare Touch. You could have stuff like that, or I think WarioWare Gold on the 3DS. I think gave you the option if you wanted to play just the micro games that had traditional controls, or the ones that had like touchscreen or gyroscope. So maybe they could do something like that.
Yeah,
Mm, yeah, that'd be cool.
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, the WarioWare Touch one, I think, was one I played a lot of. That was the DS, I guess, was it? Not the 3DS, or maybe it was both.
Yeah, I
But
think it was available actually. I think it was a not Club Nintendo. I think it was like a My Nintendo download
Mm.
through the DSiWare service. It was a little weird, but it's a really good game if you haven't played it.
Yeah, it was super fun. I spent a lot of time on that, but I did, spend a lot of time on my DS in general. So, yeah, no, that
I
was a really
love
good
the
one.
DS.
Yeah, same. So good.
Bring
So
back
much
the
fun.
DS, Nintendo, and more Mario, and more Zelda, and pretty much
Yeah,
everything.
All of things. All of
exactly. We are not hard to please at all.
yeah.
Speaking of Zelda, they did mention Zelda briefly because they were saying thank you to the huge number of players who are playing the game, including us, obviously. And that's been, we've talked about this every week. It's been consuming our lives since May the 12th when it came out. So there was not any news on DLC or anything like that for the game, but they did announce two new amiibo. And I think we all know that I love amiibo. So I'm surprised. I meant to actually jump online and pre-order because I did see they were available in Australia, at least for pre-ordering. So I should do that today before they sell out. So, and the
Too
new
late, probably.
could
Yeah.
be. It could be, honestly. Yeah. They have limits now for these things, like at EB Games, which is like the big gaming chain here. They they wouldn't let me pre-order. I think it was one per customer for the Link amiibo for Tears of the Kingdom. So I got that. So I definitely want to get Zelda and Ganondorf to add to my collection. They look really cool. Will either of you be getting either of these amiibo to add to your collections? Or we're just gonna look at mine and admire from
I
afar.
don't know. You might have to bring Roger back for a one-off to talk about the new amiibo because I don't know if I'll.
Yeah, I think
They
I'm
look cool. They really
mm,
do.
Yeah.
Um, I wonder if they're going to have any like I think it was Twilight Princess like Ganondorf unlock like a hard mode or something. So I wonder if they're going to have any type of
mm,
functionality like that, or are they just going to be dropping like meat if you
yeah,
if you swipe them? I don't know.
Yeah.
yeah, it will be
I
interesting to
imagine
see.
they'll do
Oh,
something like, and I was actually kind of glad that they didn't announce Tears of the Kingdom DLC in this direct because
mhm.
everybody's still playing it.
Yeah,
I think it
yeah,
was a little overwhelming to
hmm
announce it so quickly, but I could see them maybe in September. Like hey, we're doing DLC. It's coming next year, early next year, or something like that. But although the
yeah,
game's so big, that may still be early too. I have to wait till next year.
yeah. For me,
Mhm.
I agree. I think it would have been too soon to have DLC. I think after what 6 weeks? Yeah, I mean we're still
Yeah.
talking about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC, and that's been out what
Mhm.
9 months ish. Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh.
so. Yeah, it's good. It's going to breathe new life into these games at least, or keep them, I guess, keep the longevity in
Mhm.
check for players who have invested in them, which is cool. So,
I'd like to
yeah.
see Nintendo do more. I know they've done some restocks on the older Zelda
Mhm.
amiibo, but like I never grabbed that Link's Awakening one, and I kicked myself, and I'm like, re-release that. Like I've seen like like Ocarina Link or whatever, but I'm like, there's so many Zelda
Yeah.
amiibo. Like just reprint the whole line.
Yeah.
Like this is the time
Yeah.
to do it.
Yep.
I thought they did do that, or at least they did here. I
They
got like
did.
eight.
Yeah, they did some reprinting,
Yeah,
but it's
partial.
it's just
Okay. Not
select
all of them.
two or three of them. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, and it's weird how they do it differently in different regions as well.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, they did release a lot of them in Australia. Like there were many, and I chose eight of the many because I just couldn't afford
Wow.
all of them. So, but I know they didn't do the same over there, which is a shame. And I don't know why, because they
Uh,
look the same, right? I mean,
they're making up, Gemma, since you missed Mario RPG all these years. They're like, well, we'll give Australia all the amiibo as
yes.
compensation.
Well, I guess thank you. Yeah, but that's not fair for you guys either. So, so anyway, yeah. So I'll be getting those. I don't know if there was a release date. I was too excited and lost track of that. So I'm not sure when they actually come out. I'm guessing it's like July or August or something. I don't think it'd be too far away.
I thought maybe it was. Was it October? Maybe
Oh,
I'm
it's
wrong.
just with October. That's a busy time for Nintendo. So
Oh, maybe I'm
yeah, it
wrong.
could be. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I have no idea. I'm just guessing. But I'll look it up and I'll order it. So yeah. But well, for me, the highlight of the direct was something that I talk about a lot as a Mario fan, and it was a new 2D Mario game. I cannot believe
Mm.
we finally have one. I thought I'd never see a new 2D Mario. And Yeah, I don't know. I've watched the trailer like a bunch of times. I really don't know what to make of this. It's quite different. It's Super Mario Wonder,
Yeah,
and it just looks so different, like really different, which is I think is a good thing in a way because, let's try something new for the series and let's see what we can do with it. But also, I hope it works and I hope it's as good as the others in the series. I just don't know what these little talking little flower things do for you. I and this wonder seed or whatever it is that makes the world go crazy. My
yeah,
kids thought it looked a bit kiddie, like a bit easy in the trailer. Like it looked like it was aimed for a younger audience. That was their impression, and they are kids. So um, I hope that's not the case. I hope it's, challenging for platform enthusiasts like myself.
oh, yeah,
But, I'm going to remain optimistic and positive. And I mean, one of the key things for me is that Daisy is playable, and Daisy's my favorite character. So
Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
yeah, it is very
I
cool.
Yeah, I hope she's not like an easy character. You know how in New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe, uh, Toadette was easy. Like she got the princess power that made her float all the time. Let's see, and
Thank you.
and Nabbit was also there, and he was easy. Like he was
Yeah,
invulnerable to everything. So I just hope. I mean, I'm fine if they do include characters that have that easy reference, but I think you should be able to switch it on and off for any character. Like you should be
yeah.
able to say, I'm going to be Mario, but he's going to be, easy Mario for kids or whatever, right?
I liked it when they did it with a power up, right? You got like the infinite Tanuki suit, and
Yes, that was
oh
good because it was optional
yeah,
then. Yeah.
do something like that, where
Hmm.
like you said, it can be for any character.
Yeah, that's a good point because then you can choose to use it or not. Like in Super Mario 3D World, I think it has that. If you
Yeah,
fail a lot, if you
yeah,
die in the same level over and over and over again, it gives you that extra power up, which happens in some of those harder levels.
yeah,
And sometimes I'll be like, no, I don't want that. I want to do it myself.
exactly.
But then other times I'm like, no, this is too hard. I am going to have invincibility
Yeah.
and Tanuki. So, um, so Justin, what did you think of the Mario Wonder trailer? Are you optimistic or are you kind of like pessimistic or kind of neutral? Like it's a little
I'm
different to me. So
yeah, I'm super excited about it. It
yeah.
does look very different, but I like what I'm seeing from the art style. I think,
Hmm. Hmm.
for the longest time, and maybe Nintendo was thinking the same thing. They're like, okay, what do we do with our 2D series, right?
Mm.
What do we do different style wise? And as graphics are getting better, I don't think people would have been content with just, oh, the new Super Mario Brothers style, just better, like
Hmm.
we already kind of got that with the Wii U one, right? New Super Mario Brothers U. So I think it's a good time for them to kind of like, okay, what does the next iteration of 2D Mario look like? I do like he's a bit more expressive.
He
Like the
is. Yeah.
animations are a little more cartoony, which I kind of like. It kind of reminds me of even some of like the manga, the little Mario comics, or uh, kind of the artwork you would see in even like the instruction manuals for like earlier Mario games. So,
Mm. Hmm.
if he's got more expressiveness, obviously he's got some interesting new abilities. It looks like maybe his power ups this time will be maybe animal based, which is kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Um, so I hope there's quite a few of those. I hope it's not just Elephant Mario. And it looked like there
Yeah.
was one where he was rolling around like as a spike ball. So I don't know if
Yeah.
that was a new power up or something else.
Hmm.
Um, it looks really good. Some of the rumors I've been seeing, the fact that Daisy is playable, and even that last like castle that you go to in the trailer, there's a
Hmm.
guy that walks out, and some people are wondering if this is Sarasa Land, which is from the Super Mario Land series. And I was like, that would be kind of interesting if we're not necessarily in Mushroom Kingdom. Mario and crew go to Daisy's, kingdom, and Bowser's over there wreaking havoc, and they have to figure things out. Anyways, I don't know if that's the case, but I don't know. I'm very excited. 2D Mario games, especially ones that I remember being a little underwhelmed when New Super Mario Brothers U was announced because it's like, oh, it's really the same style as the Wii one. It's just looks a little better, you know. So I'm
Yeah.
excited for what they're gonna do. The Wonder Flower is interesting. I'm excited to see the transformations. So yeah, I'm excited, and I guarantee you there's going to be some challenge to it. I think
Mm.
they showed kind of some basic stuff in there, but I think there'll be some good challenge as there typically is with the 2D Mario games, even if it's just later levels as it scales up.
Yeah. Yeah. Star Road, hopefully. I do
Mhm.
love Star Road. Yeah. Oh, that sounds, yeah, very positive. I love that, Justin. And I feel the same way. I am, yeah, like I've said all these years, I'm just, where's my new Mario? So I cannot tell you how excited I am. And I just can't wait to unpack it. I've got to wait till October though. It's October the 20th, another October date. So,
Yeah. At least it's not
yeah.
November. Like that sometimes when Nintendo will do a big game in November, and so I was like, oh,
Mm,
October
mhm.
20. That's not November 20. You know, Black Friday.
Yeah. Yeah, true. It's only 4 months. It'll go fast.
Yeah.
And so I just wonder if it'll get to the top of my Switch gameplay length because Mario U Deluxe is number two after Lego City Undercover. So
Oh, what happened there?
yeah, so we'll see. But it just, yeah, I'm very excited to see more about it, and I hope you're right. You know, I think you're right. There will be more power ups. The elephant one does look cool. I think I want to go smashing things as an elephant, sure. And I'm sure there will be others we haven't been shown yet. And the expression thing, that's a good point. You know how he goes into the pipe and he even like takes his hat off and catches it like Indiana Jones kind of thing going
Yeah.
in. Yeah. So I hope that's part of the actual game and not just part of the trailer, but it looks awesome. He looks really expressive and the music sounds really good. It
Yeah.
sounds like they've done something kind of new with it. Like it sounds like Mario, but just had this extra little echoey quality to it that sounded really cool. You know, when he was swimming up into you know what? It actually sounded a little Super Mario World ish, the little sound effects to me, which I love Super Mario World. So I like that they're bringing that kind of sound element back in. I think that'll work really well. Yeah. What about you, Trev? Did you have any thoughts on this trailer?
I share the excitement that Justin and you have, because I was trying to think about it. Like, for a while, it felt like the new series maybe burned out a little. Because you had like four entries and a handful of years. But what have we had for 2D Mario other than Nintendo's levels in like Mario Maker?
Mm.
Nothing really new. So that in itself is excitement. I actually think what was it called that your kid said looked weird? The thing that changes the like
What
the backgrounds or whatever.
in the Mario trailer? Oh, they thought the
Yeah.
overall style of it just looked like it was a bit easy, a bit for kids. Maybe they were
So
talking about
what
the
was the
style.
thing you grabbed though and it like altered the level? It was like a
Oh,
seed or
was it a
something.
Wonder Seed or something? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is really cool because one of the issues I had with like the new series was even though the level design was good, like the level aesthetics were kind of cookie cutter. You
Mm.
have your,
Mhm.
your forest, your desert, your castle, and there wasn't really a lot of variety. And I feel like this allows Nintendo to add some visual diversity.
That's true.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. I'm not necessarily feeling the elephant, but then again, I wasn't feeling the cat power up in Mario 3D World, and that turned out
I
to be a lot of
love
fun.
that.
So
Yeah, so good.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure it'll be you know, it's one that I'll be buying. So
Mm. Even the name, I was sounds like a bad pun, but I was wondering what
ah,
where where they would go next with the Mario, even the names. You know, you've got Super Mario World, you've got New Super Mario Brothers. Do you go Super Mario Universe, Super Mario, what exactly? And Wonder works. That's pretty cool. It's catchy, it's short. It's not this new Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe. It's like not this thing that you need to say and you got to take a big breath before you say it. It's just like Mario Wonder or Super Mario Wonder. Um, so I like the title. I like the colorful elements to it. I think, yeah, and obviously it's going to be. There's so much more we don't know about it. But the trailer was fairly decent. I think it was a couple of minutes, and then it had that extra bit at the end with the elephant. So yeah.
you know what's funny, Jim? I was thinking when we did the Mario movie podcast, and we were
Mhm.
joking around and be like, "Man, they need a new Mario game," and they're like,
Mm.
"Probably wishful thinking. It's not going to happen," but it actually did.
Yeah. Hey, look at us. Was it on your
Yeah.
prediction list? No.
I No, it was not. It was too pie in the sky. I really didn't expect it, so I'm glad I
Yeah.
was wrong.
Yeah. I had thought not this year. I just thought, no, it's not going to happen this year. Another year without Mario. So
Mhm.
plus we had the
And
movie and I thought,
it's good too because they're probably working on like an Odyssey 2 for the Switch
mhm.
successor.
Yeah.
So in
Yeah.
the meantime, we get a 2D Mario game, which I'm all into. Like with
Yeah.
Mario or with Zelda or these big franchises, I'm all into mixing them up. Give me the
Mhm.
big 3D entry, give me the 2D entry. They're all fun in
Mm.
their own ways.
Totally. I was
Yeah.
wondering actually, sorry, Justin, you go.
Well, yeah, I think they want to space these games out, right? And so I think, yeah, like you
Mm.
said, Trev, they're probably no doubt working on the next 3D Mario. Um, but that to me could be a better showpiece for the next system anyway, right? Like the 2D
Yeah.
series, it still looks stunning even on the Switch, right? And the Switch is
Mhm.
an HD system, but like the style they're going for, it doesn't need to be 4K or whatever the new system is going to end up being. So, whereas 3D Mario, man, that's going to really sparkle.
Mhm. Yeah. I think that'd be great if they launch the next Switch with a 3D Mario. That'd be perfect because they've got a new Zelda out now, so it probably won't be a Zelda title to launch it.
Yeah,
Mario would hopefully carry that across
I
for
could.
us.
Yeah, I could see 3D Mario or potentially Metroid Prime 4 being kind of
Mhm.
like what Breath of the Wild was, where it's cross-gen, where you could maybe
Yeah. Yeah.
because I
Ooh.
think Nintendo's going to feel bad for. I don't think they're going to make it exclusive to Switch 2 because they'll be like, "Hey, we announced this for the Switch like in the first year of the console, right?"
Yeah.
Um, so I imagine if it's going to come out, but they're going to heavily incentivize you to buy the new system. I think they're like, "Hey,
Yeah.
Metro Prime 4 is going to look this much better," on
Yeah.
and Metro Prime is a series that goes for that realistic art style. It's going to be, you know, maybe a bit more immersive on the newer system. But
Yeah, exactly. Oh, so exciting just thinking about all of this. So yeah, we got a lot. We got so much. I was just the one last thing I'll say about Mario was you mentioned Mario being in sort of a spike rock or whatever it was, and I wonder
yeah,
if that's an Odyssey thing, or I wonder if he actually could throw his hat onto certain objects and sort of
Oh,
become them. That would be interesting in a 2D
that'd be
environment. I don't
neat.
know.
Yeah.
yeah,
Because his hat came off in the pipe, like I said. So, does his hat detachable? Is his hat going to play a bit of a role? I don't know. Maybe not.
yeah.
Maybe
It
just
makes you wonder.
yeah. It does. Yes. Thank you, Trev. Yeah. Well, any final thoughts before we close off on the direct or anything else that we wanted to say before we sign off?
I think one of the cool things that they briefly showed was really was a lot of Mario stuff, right? They showed off
Mhm.
that there's a Princess Peach game, right? That's coming next year, and
True.
there's
Yeah, we didn't mention that, did we? Yeah.
yeah, and then there's also they're bringing Luigi's Mansion 2, Dark
Mhm.
Moon, um, to the Switch next year, which I'm like, man, that's really cool. Like, obviously, it'd be great to have Luigi's Mansion 1 as well, but, maybe eventually
Mm.
they'll do that,
Mhm.
kind of like what they're doing with Pikmin. But, uh,
Yeah. A little bit of a
yeah,
collection happening.
yeah.
Would have been perfect, but yeah, that's okay.
Right.
Mm.
But I'm
Yeah.
excited to see what they do with the Princess Peach game, and um, yeah, yeah, there's some exciting little teasers for stuff even coming in 2024.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I think it was a good direct overall. Very excited to see what's happening next. Yeah. Trev, any final thoughts before we say goodbye?
Um, no, I think we pretty well covered it. It's just I like these long directs. 40 minutes.
Mm.
That's a lot, and it lessens the opportunity of getting games that maybe you're not into. Like we had that one direct where half of it was like farming games.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, but here I thought there was a good variety and some
Mhm.
surprises. I didn't get really spoiled on
Yeah.
much, and yeah, there's always going to be plenty to play. Even if the Switch is in its twilight. Nintendo's been good, maybe with the exception of the Wii U, of supporting their systems in their late years. So even
That's
if we get mostly updates or ports, I think we're going to be satisfied.
I think so too. Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much, both of you, for this awesome discussion on the Nintendo Direct and all things Nintendo coming up in the next few months and even next year. So we'll leave it at that. Thank you, listeners. I hope you enjoyed the show. Let us know your favorite moments of the Direct. We'd love to know what you thought. And if you like the show, please support us. You can rate us on the podcast channels or like us and subscribe to us on YouTube. And if you're interested in our magazine, we have a bi-monthly magazine, and the next issue is imminently waiting for printing. It'll be in the next few weeks. So get on board over at patreon.com/Pure Nintendo, and you can get something into your hands next month that you can skim through. And it's Pikmin 4 based, so it'll be perfect timing for that one.
Mhm.
Until next week, though, thank you both, Trev and Justin.
Yeah, it's fun.
Thanks, Jemma.
Yeah, thank you. And until then, game on, everybody.